Welcome back to the dojo. Welcome back to the daily discussions. I'm your host, Professor Hawk Sensei. If you're nasty, I want to welcome you to this particular talk. This talk for today, the topic of discussion is people are animals too. Yep, it was about time I made this one. People are animals too. Just look at our nature. Just look at the things that we desire. Just look at the things that we really want to do. Just look at the deepest depths of your soul. The lowest vibration of us all. Food, survival, and sex. Those are the lowest vibrations of our beings. Even the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, and the fish of the sea follow these same protocols. Survival consists of living to the next day, finding food and shelter, and also passing on your genes. Yep. In that regard, we're absolutely no different than animals. And see, human beings, we are a unique animal. We possess the faculties to think critically. Yes. We can plot and plan a course of action. Animals can do it too, but usually with extreme stimuli, hardcore discipline / training, or just perilous situations. Any of those. Left to their devices, they just usually run around on instincts. They don't really need to think critically. They already know what they need to do. It's ingrained in them. It's instilled in them since birth. Right? But see, people were different. Before we decided to become civilized, I can't talk today. Before we decided to become civilized, we were no different than the animals. Killing just to survive. Trying to keep warm in the cooler climates. Trying to make shelter, so we can live. But where we differ is human beings, we want comfort. We want enjoyment. We want entertainment. Maybe it's because we've lived our entire lives with access to these things, right? So we take them for granted. I don't think animals take anything for granted. We take a lot of things for granted. The society we live in, prime example. Our society may collapse tomorrow. And then we ain't even gonna know what we're gonna do. There's some people who know how to survive and live off the land, fish, hunt, forage, build shelter, start fire, whatever. There's plenty of people out there who will make it if the grid just shut down, if everything collapsed. They'll figure it out. But the majority of us won't be so lucky. The survival instincts that we all need to thrive on this planet have all been forgotten. The comfort of society has slowly eroded away our survival instincts. We've become more docile and also dependent upon the system and one another. Now, don't get me wrong. Human beings as an animal, we are social creatures. We thrive in groups. Most certainly, we thrive in groups. But that's not to say that we can't make it on our own, because we possess these mental faculties, because we can think critically. were able to survive alone. But taking it a step further, when I'm talking about people or animals, I want to go into more of the primal parts of humanity. The things that I touched on in the beginning of the video, such as making sure you got something to eat, making sure you got somewhere to lay your head, a safe place to rest, and also the procreation aspect, passing on your genes, right? In every man really wants to spread his seed as much as possible. How you can take that however you want. It doesn't matter how old, how young. Well, how young does matter to a degree. Once hormones start kicking in, that's what I'm talking about, young and old. Right? We want to spread our genes as much as possible. The society that we live in today restricts that. And for good reason. Reason being is there are too many of us. There are way too many of us for us to be out here just slinging it, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? There are checks and balances in place for all that lewd behavior. Right? And going even deeper, it's not too much different for women. You know what I mean? They're a little bit better at controlling their sexual impulses and urges because there's a little bit more risks involved on their side, but ultimately it's relatively the same. They have hormones just like we do. Their bodies have the desire to procreate just like ours do, but their system works a little bit differently. They want to get the best genes. They want to get the best mate. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it. We kind of want the same thing too, but in a sense, we not really greedy with it because, like I said before, we want to spread our genes as much as possible. If we had it our way, any woman that appealed to us, we just grab them up and say, hey, here, take this. Carry this baby. All right, I'll see you later. But the society we live in is not conducive for that. In all actuality, we're supposed to be in tribes and groups like that. There's a village, and it takes a village to raise children. In this village, there are no husband and wives. We all are just a collective. We are all just a collective. All the men of the village father the children. All the women of the village mother the children. You know what I mean? The elders, they guide the next generation to lead and grow and all this, all those things. Because we live in society, we don't have that that primal community. We have a civilized social community, but it's not a primal community where we all thrive and work together to survive, to procreate, to build shelter, to eat, feed ourselves. We don't have that anymore in this day and age. Now, it does exist on, remote islands and all that. You know what I mean? But ultimately, deep down inside, we are desiring to get back to our primal selves. That's why I say we're animals. Because we have repressed our primal instincts for so long in society, I think that's what this craze is about. Everybody's like on edge, everybody's anxious, everybody's angry. Like this energy of the youth, the millennials, and even some of the older people, it's a very strong energy going on right now within the hearts and minds of people. Some are even taking it so far as they're crashing out. I think what's happening is our primal selves are being awakened because the state of the world is changing at a rapid and alarming rate. Everybody's on edge. Everybody's tense. You know what I mean? So what I believe is happening is this triggering of trauma and extended periods of time that we have to deal with stressful situations, it's bringing our primal instincts and our primal behaviors back to the forefront. I believe that is what's really going on. The mask of humanity is beginning to fade, and we are starting to reveal ourselves for what we really are. I think people are getting to the point where they're tired of pretending that they're not as brutal, they're not as wicked, they're not as seductive or lewd. You know what I mean? I think what's happening is humanity is going through a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift. Because the day and age that we live in, there is an obsession with wealth and sex. I talked about this in another video. I can't remember what the title of it was. Yes, Bread and Circuses. Check that one out. I go more in depth about this little sub-talking point. But ultimately, we're at the age of decadence in our society to where it's really just mostly low vibrational interactions. Fighting, fucking, and feasting. That's what's going on. We're not really doing a whole lot else. Like, we're not improving our society. We trying to get computers and stuff to do it. Because we're tired of contributing to the machine. We want the machine to contribute to us now. Whether you realize it or see what's going on, this is what's happening. People are changing more into their primal selves. Of course, in the more beginning stages, you may not be aware of it, but if you really pay attention, fitness is trending. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things going on an online space, but people are wanting to become more primal. That alpha male stuff, red pill, all of this stuff is going back to primal. I don't know if y'all see it or not. When we were in the industrial age and World War II and all that stuff, that was the age of people trying to become civilized because they were in the war-torn era, right? So they were trying to get away from being savages, for lack of a better word. But now that we've, at least America, we've been in a docile, dormant state for so long, and the chaos of the world is ramping up at an alarming rate, whether you realize or not, our minds, our bodies, and our souls are shifting with it. And if we're not careful, we'll get caught up in the world. We won't know what's going on or where we're at, right? Don't forget your primal instincts. Remember, before we decided to become civilized, we were savages. We were more brutal. Our lives didn't last as long, right? But that was the essence of our being, the primal essence. That primal essence that was able to make it from the ancient times until now, it's only because of the people who didn't throw away their primal instincts or their primal self. There's even a phrase that we like to say to one another when we think we're at our, I'm in my prime, I'm at my peak. Prime is just the root word of primal. Primal is the origin. We have advanced ourselves very far from the primal origin. But I wanted to bring this discussion and talk to you today because no matter how far we go in advance, humanity will always have a primal urge to be an animal. No matter how much these people, these technocrats or whoever, you know what I mean, want to fuse humanity with machine, until you erase humanity completely, there will always be a primal urge to be an animal in one way, shape, or form, because deep down inside, that's what we are. We have the ability to vibrate at a much higher frequency. And we try to do that for the most part. But ultimately, don't forget who and what you are. You are an animal. But also knowing that, you must tame that beast within. That being said, I hope you learned something today. I hope you're waking up every day with a plan, a purpose, and a smile. And if you're not waking up with a plan, purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you're waking up. I want you to do me a favor. Go ahead and like the video, because I know you like this one. You made it this far. So go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Second thing is, I want you to share the video, because other people would love to see this. Other people need to hear this and see this. And don't be selfish. Don't be a stingy mofo. I don't like those people. You should be on my channel if you like this. So go ahead and share. And last but not least, subscribe. Because you came back too many times not to push that button. Go ahead and do that. Till next time, y'all. Professor Hawk signing out. Class is dismissed.